Hello everybody, my name is Alexander the Pooter. I'm a Porsche Brand Ambassador at Champion Porsche here in South Florida, and welcome to the Champion Porsche studio. In today's presentation I would like to present you this spectacular one of 1250 Porsche 911 Sport Classics. This is a very unique specification as it was built by the Sonderwunsch department within Porsche. Sonderwunsch, also known as the Special Wishes department. And again, only 1250 Sport Classics were made for the entire world, and very few of those were Sonderwunsch specifications. So in today's presentation we're going to highlight the build specifications on this very special Porsche, look at the details on both the outside and the inside, and talk about the 911 Sport Classic in general. Now, the 911 Sport Classic name does have some history with the Porsche brand. Back on the 997 Generation 2, Porsche produced also a 911 Sport Classic. Only 250 units were made of those, but unfortunately those were never available for the US market. This one did, based on the model year 2023, based mechanically in many ways on the 911 Turbo and the Turbo S, but many different features done just for the 911 Sport Classic. Within the Porsche lineup, this is a special heritage version of the Porsche 911, dating back to the 1960s and 70s, so you'll see many design features on this vehicle dating back to the 60s and the 70s. Let's start with some of those exterior details. Let's talk about the Porsche crest. So when we look here at the front hood, which by the way for the Sport Classic is made out of carbon fiber, we're going to see the classic heritage Porsche crest. So instead of the modern day crest that you would typically see on a 911, this is the crest dating back to the late 40s, early 50s, representing that classic days of the Porsche brand. That same crest is also applied on the center locks, on the caps in the middle, and you'll also see it later on the steering wheel design. The next cool design feature just for the 911 Sport Classic are actually the wheels. Many Porsche enthusiasts know the classic Fuchs design wheels from back in the day, and for the 911 Sport Classic, Porsche was able to retain the center lock design derived, for example, from the 911 Turbo S, but now do it on a custom-made center lock setup inspired by the classic Fuchs design. So we can see this beautiful 5-spoke design on the inside of the wheel, finished in high gloss black. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the Porsche crest, the heritage crest from back in the day. And normally with the carbon composite discs, Porsche will do a yellow caliper, but for the Sport Classics that was painted in black, creating this very classic look, especially with this beautiful big 20-inch front wheel. Another very cool feature to the Sport Classic is going to be in some design cues on the outside. Again, next to the heritage crest, we're also going to see the double bubble roof. Look at the classic Porsches from back in the day, especially the race cars. We're going to see this very classic double bubble effect done on the Sport Classic. Again, only 1250 units for the world. Another design profile just for the 911 Sport Classic is this rear section here, where normally the 911 Turbo, the Turbo S, actually has a large intake in the rear fender here. You can see that is no longer there. Having this very beautiful classic design on the side panel here, retaining that really wide setup that a Turbo or Turbo S has in general, but now removing that big intake, creating this beautiful flow of design, especially with the ducktail on the back. Many enthusiasts of course know the ducktail from back in the day. Look at the 2.7 RS, and the design icon now of the 70s, introduced in 1973. And again, as this car is heavily derived on that classic inspiration, we see the return of the ducktail. So with the removal of the intake on the side, the addition of the ducktail, Porsche had to do a complete new intake system. The engine derived from the 911 Turbo and the Turbo S, so a 3.8 liter twin turbo flat 6. Now they did have to down-tune the engine a little bit, and why? Because it is actually a manual transmission. Again, a very big topic within the Porsche world. The last manual transmission was the 997 Turbo, now dating back about 13 years, but look at this. It is back on the Sport Classic, only 1250 units for the world, combining a rear-wheel drive setup with a 7-speed manual with a ducktail with all the classic vibe design elements on the outside. Now all 1250 units have been sold and delivered, and many of them with big Porsche enthusiast owners, and very cool that these cars of course came out. On the back we can also see the Porsche lettering finished in gold. You're also going to see that as a plaque on the fender on the front. So you see Porsche finished in gold, 911 Sport Classic finished in gold. And again, being derived from the Turbo and the Turbo S, we also see that this car has the sport exhaust system with the large oval exhaust tips from the extra sound from the twin turbo flat 6. I mentioned a bit earlier, rear-wheel drive. Yes, normally the Turbo S models have been all-wheel drive now for many years, but for the Sport Classic, Porsche removed the all-wheel drive system, went to a rear-wheel drive setup. So that in combination with that manual transmission is a very classic feeling. Amazing, of course, to go through the gears with that much power and torque from a twin turbo 3.8 liter flat 6. Okay, let's talk about Sonderwunsch, special wishes. Let's talk about paint. Chromaflair, a very special exclusive technology within the Porsche brand. It is 5 different coatings of paint in one color. There's different Chromaflair paints within the Porsche brand. This one is called Urban Bamboo Chromaflair. A special wish request within Porsche. A very limited amount of vehicles can be produced by Porsche per year in a Chromaflair paint, as the painting process is so complex and intense. Again, Urban Bamboo Chromaflair. On this specific one, depending how the light shines on it, I see a little bit of green, I see a little bit of gold, I see a little bit of gray and silver tones, and in some cases even blue, because depending how the light shines on this Chromaflair paint, the top coating has a special pigmentation, and again, depending how the observer looks at the vehicle, it actually kind of changes its color, which is really, really cool. Another very special wish to this car is actually the side profile here. So you can see the big bubble here on the door showing number 38, and also the Porsche letters on the side. Now for the standard 911 Sport Classic, those were decals, but for this specific vehicle, the special wishes department actually painted it. Now Chromaflair is hand painted in general, so you can imagine the complexity to get this to do it in the right way, but then to add this extra level of complexity with the bubble and the Porsche letters being painted by Porsche, this is just outstanding craftsmanship, and especially with what it represents from back in the day. Let's also look on the inside, where the Sport Classic has a very special interior. This one finished in black with the Pepita seat inserts. Again, Pepita, big history within the Porsche brand going back to the 60s and the 70s. This beautiful checkered material, cloth on the insides of the seat, and then black leather to the outside of this Sport Seats Plus. Again, I mentioned earlier in my introduction the heritage crest on the steering wheel itself. Again, applied on the center locks, on the wheel, and on the hood itself. And then this vehicle also has a Sonderwunsch Special Wish steering wheel. So if you look at the steering wheel, it's finished in black leather with the 12 o'clock marker finished in beautiful pebble gray leather. And another beautiful detail is the side sill showing 911 Sport Classic, again finished in the same gold, and it is also LED illuminated. Another cool aspect, and you can see it here on the floor here in this Champion Porsche studio, is the underdoor potted light projectors. Heritage, icons of cool, established 1948 design. Again, truly giving you the wording that Porsche uses for this beautiful heritage inspired modern day 911 with a limited edition run of only 1,250 units. Again, my name is Alexander, Porsche Brand Ambassador at Champion Porsche in South Florida. I want to thank you for watching this presentation, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.